Hola, buenos días.
Hola, buenas tardes.
This is Barb.
This is Estella.
And welcome to
Cafecito and Crime. This has been the recording from hell.
Yep.
Just like last week's.
And you know what? I think because it's spooky.
Yo también.
Honestly. Pero ya, I promise que ya se va a acabar el spooky season.
Yeah.
Yo creo.
Yeah.
But to me, it's always a spooky season.
Yeah, in my heart, it's always a spooky season.
Yeah.
It's always Thanksgiving season and Christmas season. All the last 3 months of the year are always in my heart.
Yeah. And I just hope that it gets a little bit cooler here. But anyway, so we actually did a collab with this episode. We've literally have fought to even get to this point right now. Y'all have no idea.
Our mics are sounding really weird. And then it's, okay, we checked the mics, right? And they sounded fine, blah, blah, blah. And then when we started recording, I played it back just to double make sure. Porque last week we have to fucking record the episode 3 fucking times.
3 times, guys. 3.
And so ahorita I played it back. Dude, tell me why our voices sounded so distorted. We were like, what?
And then that's not all. After a while of us recording, we're like, okay, we got this. It sounded good. Bitch, why did it just turn off? Like there was no sound.
Yeah, it started, it recorded like the first, 15, 20 seconds. Mm-hmm. And I was like, my wavelengths look weird. So I was like, hold on, stop. And played it back and there was no sound.
No sound. Like it literally faded out.
Yes. I was like, what?
The fuck?
We've been trying to record since 9:30?
Mm-hmm.
It's 11.
It's 11. No, it's because she had to turn it back on, turn it on, whatever.
Restart my laptop.
Yeah, we did everything, but
Dios mío.
But you know what? No nos vas a ganar, estúpida.
No vas a arruinar mis planes. First of all, fuck you. People who we are about to talk about.
Okay, so like I said, this is a collab, and we are going to be talking about, I guess, urban legends of
Latin America.
So this is an homage to our Hispanic Heritage Month. But I know I think it's over, pero no hay pedo, güey. I mean,
it's fine.
It's fine. So,
I'm always Hispanic anyway, so
it doesn't change that. So I don't know si se acuerdan que hace como 2, not this last episode, but the episode before that, we had the episode of the Candyman, the person who killed Halloween.
Sí.
So en ese episodio, we hear that el señor decía que había una mano peluda que le daba los dulces que mató a sus hijos, right?
Yeah, a su hijo.
A su hijo. Well, que trató a matar a sus hijos.
Sí.
Anyway. So then, if you haven't heard it, go check it out. So I was like, Estela was like, dude, do you remember the fucking Mano Peluda?
Yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Yes. And so anyway, I started doing my research a little bit about the Mano Peluda. So that's what I'm going to talk about today. Okay.
Yes.
So
Barbie's going to go first.
Yeah. And you go grab your cafecitos and
let's get started.
Yes. Cheers on the cafecito.
Cheers.
Even though Estela. Also, yeah.
Ay, Dios mío.
Today has been a day. Yeah. Tell them about what happened.
I tried to order. There was like the drink that we wanted to get needed white mocha sauce. Dude, like in all the Starbucks in like the tri-state area, we're out of fucking white mocha sauce. I was like, Thanks. All of y'all have to be out of white mocha sauce?
You already know I have a problem with that because I was keto. I don't know if y'all knew this, but I told this on the pod before. I was keto for a while, probably about 2 years, kind of straight or on and off.
Yeah.
A little bit. And they had a cinnamon dolce sugar-free sauce. No, syrup. It was a syrup. Bro, what the fuck? Like, they just discontinued it. Like, they didn't even tell nobody. Like, what the fuck?
And then you try to buy it on eBay. It's like $60
for a bottle. And I was like, y'all better go sit the fuck down, Starbucks. I'm not fucking with y'all.
Anyway, it's been a day, but literally, let's just get into it.
Grab
your cafecito, whatever. And yeah, vamos a empezar.
Make sure que your calzones are pretty on and popping because we are about to start. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the story of La Mano Peluda. So this story is actually mostly known and heard of in Mexico and in certain parts of Latin America, like Colombia.
Okay.
So it's not something that you hear like in all of Latin America, but certain countries. So the story behind the Mano Peluda goes back to the 1800s, to the Spanish Inquisition. So this is one of them that I heard. There's a few legends. So the first legend, but first of all, y'all know that we have to have things that happen in fun facts.
Oh, I didn't do fun fact.
But I did.
Okay.
So, booyah. Okay. So, one of the stories that we have here, so I'm going to talk about the story first and then I'll go into the fun fact. So, one of the stories states that there was a man that was wrongfully accused of robbery and that his hand was cut off and that he swore that he would get revenge from everybody that, played a part in him losing his arm.
Sí.
So, he did remain alive porque no se murió.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. So he remained alive and then he was buried with his hand.
Bitch, le cortaron la mano and then they buried him alive?
No. Ya cuando se murió el señor, grande.
Okay.
He had his hand.
He kept his hand?
Yeah. Y se quería, he wanted to get buried
with his,
con la mano.
Todo su cuerpo.
Todo. And so when he got buried, they would say that he would come out in the middle of the night and come out to get you and
but to the people que según
no, to everybody at this point. Yeah,
he just had hate in his heart.
Yeah, so he was just mad at the world and that he was now coming out and the kids were giving advice to not get up porque la mano peluda would come in and te jalaba las patas o te, would be like Duérmete o te van a jalar las patas o te va a llevar. And you needed to wear socks because that way you would make sure that they wouldn't take you because the socks were going to save you.
What?
Yes.
I had never heard that.
Yeah. So apparently he was stealing the kids and taking them to la mano. Would come in the middle of the night y te agarraba las patas, te jalaba, and then he would take you to the underworld.
Oh,
That's what they would do. Yeah. And then ahí te daba de comer a los demons. I don't remember that story, but that's what, I researched. Now, there's a Mexican version. So that was the one that I think that they all generalized from that the guy had gotten his hand cut off because he was
that was the basis
of it. But the one that we have in Mexico is the one that is more popular for us was in the year 1908 in Puebla, Mexico. So Puebla, here's a fun fact about Puebla.
Mm-hmm.
So this was the birthplace of Cinco de Mayo.
Mm-hmm.
While many people know it as a day as American people drink margaritas and sometimes they actually think that it's the Mexican Independence Day, but it's not.
It's not, yeah.
So this is actually the day that Mexico overtook French forces at the Battle of Puebla in 1862.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So that was the birthplace of Cinco de Mayo.
Yeah.
So that was the fun fact.
Yes.
Okay, so...
and then Mexico doesn't really celebrate Cinco de Mayo. They celebrate September 16th, which is when they won their independence.
Yeah, so Mexicans, for us, for the Mexicans, it's a day to rejoice over their bravery and seek festiveness. I don't know what that is. An ability to seek festiveness for their ability to come together as a nation. So they came together as a unit and they beat the shit.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was a man by the name of Señor Villa, okay, who was known as Huerta. That's what they call him. Horta.
Horta?
Horta. Horta.
Horta Villa.
Horta Villa.
Okay.
And his wife, his name, they would call her. I don't know why I thought this is funny, pero la llamaban la gangosa.
It just sounds funny. Gangosa.
Like la gangosa. And they, now I'm a gangosa. Excuse me. And they own a pawn shop in their pueblo. They're in Puebla.
In 1908.
Mm-hmm.
There was pawn shops in Puebla.
Apparently there was. I thought that was hilarious. That his wife's name was la gangosa.
Do we know her real name?
No, that's all they had.
Okay.
I don't think they thought it was necessary for them to
the story. Yeah.
So then Huerta, I don't know how to say that, was a little short man. On the heavy side. Estaba gordito. He's a little bit thick, and he was very hairy.
Okay.
So he was a very terrible person, and he was greedy, and he always showed off his his wealth. Like he was like, como quien dice,
show off. And he always dinero because they owned a pawn shop.
But the reason that he owned the pawn, hold on. So he was greedy, and he showed off his wealth by wearing gold rings, and he was very flashy. Bien pinche like buchon, He was always trying to take advantage of the town people.
Bitch.
So les decía, okay, well, te voy a dar menos de lo que you're supposed to have for the stuff.
Which is, that's what pawn shops do. Right?
Yeah, which is true. But at the same time, he would not be trying to. He would straight up just take advantage of them, right? He was just a fine piece of shit, like pa' acabar pronto.
So with jewelry on.
With jewelry on. And he would rip them off and never did anything good his whole fucking life. Like his whole life, he never did anything good. And it was heard around the town que cuando la people se salía de ahí enojada because les quitaba sus cosas or whatever, people would tell him que Diosito te seque la mano. Like they would like curse him.
Yeah. Okay.
Because he was a dick.
Yeah.
And so
Los
estaba estafando. So after his greedy old ass died, well, Diosito le secó la mano.
Oh.
Yeah. So there was a newspaper story that ran that in the graveyard, the graveyard keeper would see a hairy black hand with rings come out of Huerta's grave and would terrorize the pueblo.
That was his mano?
That was his mano. Because he was greedy and he wanted to just fuck everybody up. So según he would go out and he would tear out people's eyes and choke them to death.
Oh.
Yeah.
All of that?
All of that. After the story was published, they had people say that sometimes they would pull them, sometimes the hand would also pull them out of bed. So los sacaba y les jalaba las patas while they were asleep. Other people would report seeing the hand through the fields searching for more victims, like como andaba como like looking for something to fuck up.
Oh.
So then
like what?
In other versions of the legend, it is described that the hand had similar, like that it was a black hand or it was hairy. Like every research that I did, it changed but the fact that it was a hairy black hand with sharp nails. So in Colombia, the nails, the tips of the nails had poison on them. So if you would get scratched,
you're gonna die.
You were gonna die, and the hand was twice as big of your average adult hand.
Bitch, that's a giant hand.
So it was this embodied, and it would leave a trail of blood and maggots behind.
What?
When the hands would walk around or would go.
I had never heard that version.
But yeah, this is in Colombia.
Yeah.
So then the hand waits for the children to get out of bed and come out and would pull the children to the underworld, like I told you. And they would be food for the immortals or the monsters. So that's what they would tell their kids in Colombia. That's some savage ass people in Colombia, bro.
Damn. I think now for me, from what I remember, it was just kind of the basics of it. It's just never like, oh, this and this and this is the story of the Mano Peluda that's going to get your ass if you don't go to bed. This is just like, I mean, I remember mom would tell us like, si no te duermes, te va a venir a agarrar la mano peluda and it's just going to take you away. And that's it.
Yeah. So in Colombia also, it's also said that not only the hoe would only come, not only would it come from under the bed, bitch.
Yeah.
También, a veces venía behind doors, windows, and the wall.
It was just watching all over.
All over. So now if the kids didn't get away and they got scratched with the nail, then they would need to get medical help immediately because of the poison of their fingernails.
Where do you go if you go get medical help?
Like, I don't know if there's an actual case of somebody needing to go get medical help. I'm just saying that's what you know what?
Yeah, like I wonder if you're like, okay, do you be like, oh yeah, I need to go to the doctor, ER, whatever at the time, you know. Pues que me rasguñó una mano peluda and las uñas tienen veneno.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Like, how do you code that under your insurance, under your health insurance? Just like under poison?
It could probably be poisoning.
Yeah, poisoning.
Yeah, poisoning or like scratches, unknown specifics. Yeah.
Like you need a tetanus shot?
Like, yeah. What I know, there's a lot of unknown site. So we just be unknown site poisoning.
Oh, okay.
You know? Okay. So also I wanted to bring this up because when I was like researching the Mano Peluda, so that's all that I found. There's a lot of stories that this is just the basis of where the Mano Peluda came from. But apparently back in the 80s or in the early 90s, not sure where, because I really didn't look into it because that wasn't what I was researching, but I'm just wanting to bring this up because it would, like if somebody were to type in La Mano Peluda, this would come up. So there was a radio talk show back in the day que en la noche people would call and tell them the stories about
like scary stories
like, and that kind of stuff que les pasó. So there was a story about this guy que in the radio host, I don't remember, his name was Joel or something like that, because like I said, I didn't research this. I'm just telling you because this is something that I kind of fell
through.
Yeah. So the host, he actually was answering this person's phone call. This person told him that he had given his life or that he had sold his soul to the devil and that he needed help because the devil and the souls were after him.
Why are you calling a radio station?
I don't know.
Don't you want to go to church, sir?
I don't know.
For a priest?
Anyway, so then they kind of talk, and there's video. I mean, there's like
a recording
of him calling, and I don't remember. They have his name on there, honestly. If y'all want to look it up.
Pull it up?
No, because I'm scared. So, bitch, don't fuck with me. The fucking shit wasn't working earlier. Anyway, the guy apparently calls to the radio station and tells them, hey, you know what? I've been getting chased by these demons or whatever. And I don't know what to do. So the person that's like, well, come in. The host is probably like, this is a good opportunity to get some more viewers or listeners or whatever.
Yeah.
So le dice, that was like back then podcast, right? The fucking radio
station you just call.
And so then le dijo que fuera y they were going to get a priest, and then the producer and the host was going to be there, right?
The producer of the show, the host, and the priest, and then the guest.
And then the guest,
okay.
Which was the guy that was possessed, which was given a ring. I don't know where he got the ring from. I don't know, because he could not take this ring off, because that was the way that he was involved with the devil, was with this ring.
Mm-hmm.
So the people around, or the producer, was saying that whenever he said hi to everybody, he said hi to everybody with the hand that didn't have the ring. Pero cuando saludó al host, he gave him the hand that he had the ring on.
Why?
I don't know, but I don't know what happened after that, because I didn't listen, because I was scary, chicken shit, you know? All I know is that the host ends up dying a few days later. The priest died of a heart attack, and the producer wasn't doing well as well. It was kind of like, because whenever I put Mano Peluda, it kept coming that thing up, and I'm like, this is not what I'm trying to find. Like, I'm trying to find the story of where the Mano Peluda came from.
But I can see where it kind of correlates a little bit, porque tenía una mano. It had a ring on it, which from the original legend, Villa.
Yeah, el señor Villa.
He was wearing all these gold rings.
The man de la gangosa.
De la gangosa. And was this guy that called in, tenía una mano peluda?
I don't know. I didn't check on all of that, bitch, because I was scared. Pero I will tell you something. I know I listened a little bit from the radio, because I even looked it up on TikTok, because I was like, what the fuck is this? Like, it kept coming up and coming up.
Not Google, TikTok will tell you.
Dude, fuck Google. TikTok knows everything.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, what? And so I saw a few videos about how, literally, like videos and videos about how this guy, and they say that the reason that the man died was because of that. Because the guy from supposedly he was feeling better and cured or whatever, but I don't know. And then another thing I forgot to tell you guys, they told him that he had to sacrifice somebody. And then he told, wait. So whenever he calls in the first time, les dice que he had to sacrifice somebody, that the devil had told him that, and that he had killed his grandma.
Oh, he had already had to sacrifice somebody.
So that I guess that it was like a showing of like,
you're really
into this or whatever, and he had killed his grandma.
You know what?
I don't know, but he had everything he wanted, and apparently he was doing better. But then he couldn't get away from them.
So he was like, let me just embrace it, I guess.
I don't know. But yeah, if y'all want to look that up, guys, I don't fuck with the person, but what's up? Let us know what y'all think about that. And La Mano Peluda story. What do you think? What would people tell you about the Mano Peluda?
Just like I said earlier, Mom nos decía que, si no te dormías, te iba a venir a agarrar la mano peluda. But I remember when we asked Alex about it, Alex, he was like, hey, do you remember Mom telling us about la mano peluda? He was like, no. I was like, really? I remember it. Because your ass was bad. Yeah. So based on what my mother-in-law has told us, Estela here was horrible. So I'm pretty sure that my husband was not bad. And he was older. So he probably didn't need to hear about. She probably told your ass because your fucking ass was bad. Yeah. Y no me dormía. Y no se dormía. But that's the story of the Mano Peluda, guys. Let us know what you think. Wait, what do you remember about the Mano Peluda when you were... I remember, honestly, my grandma would tell me about it, pero like it was more the same. Like my grandma in Mexico would tell me more about it. Like que venía la Mano Peluda y te like jalaba las patas. Jalaba las patas was the biggest thing. Yes. Like que te jalaba las patas. Pero they never really ever went into like... Details. No. Details. I wonder if the same with them. They didn't really know. Yeah. They was just like... And we should have asked your mom.
Let's take a quick break. Persons of Interest is back, and it's bigger than ever.
That scream will echo in my head for many years.
Taser! 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 He's going to shoot! Oi! Shot fired! Shots fired, shots fired.
He had the perfect aim.
I am absolutely stressed at that point. I have no idea where my officers are.
Persons of Interest available everywhere you get your podcasts.
I should have
asked. But my grandparents are dead already, so there's nobody I can ask.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But anyway, we're going to move on from La Mano Peluda into what?
La Llorona. I wonder if it's La Llorona and all this stuff not making our shit work because...
This bitch. First of all, I mean, I'm a Llorona.
Yep.
I'm a fucking Llorona. So...
Me too.
So I don't know. I mean, look, Llorona, we ain't trying to... Estela said, wouldn't you want the publicity?
Why are you fucking this shit up? I mean,
why are you fucking this shit up? I just want to know, I really do want to know what you guys have heard, like from La Llorona, all of these things. What do you... Please leave us a message. We beg you, please.
Like, yeah, we're all Lloronas, but bitch, we don't cry for the same reasons that this bitch cries.
I'm going to ask my dad. Like when I know he's going to call me today. So I'm going to ask him what he remembers of that.
Or your stepmom.
Or my stepmom.
Yeah.
My stepmom is not here right now, but I'm going to ask her. And what we can do is we can probably put it in our Instagram stories. Yeah, that's
okay,
cool.
Sounds good.
Moving along from La Mano Peluda.
Yeah, moving on from La Mano Peluda, we're going to get into La Llorona. Now, when we were growing up, or when I was growing up, I remember we were always told by our parents that we needed to be back home, from playing outside.
Porque te iba a salir La Llorona.
When the street lights came on, it was the whole thing. If not, La Llorona was gonna, which is the weeping woman, as people know her, was going to come and take us. That she drowned her kids and that she was out looking for some other kids to take. So that was just the gist of what we were told.
Whenever I was younger, we would go to Mexico when my mom would get rid of us for 2 months. And when my parents got divorced.
Espooky.
But anyway, that's another spooky story. But whenever we were young, I remember my sister and I would go to Mexico for a long time. And not a long time, 2 months or whatever. But my grandma would always tell us a story of how the Llorona would come and she was crying. So sometimes bro, I could swear I could hear the fucking Llorona, bro. That's how fucking much she would. Yeah. In Mexico, that's bro. La Llorona is the shit.
So my question is, where does the legend of La Llorona come from? Or where does it originate from? Well, according to research, La Llorona can be linked all the way back to the Aztecs. Did you know that?
No, I didn't. That's an interesting fact.
And one goddess in particular, su nombre es Ciacuatl, which means snake woman.
I like her.
It is said that she would appear to men dressed in white and was also covered in white chalk. Okay? She'd roam at night, weeping and wailing, foreboding war.
For war?
That she'd weep about the fate of her children. For that reason, according to an article that I found on historytoday.com by Amy Fuller.
Hey, Amy Fuller.
Ciacuatl is linked to the 6 out of 10 omens having foretold the Spanish conquest over the Aztec Empire in the 1500s.
Wow, okay.
It is also reported that she possessed women during childbirth. The woman who died during the childbirth would remain frozen in that state.
Of dying?
Of dying, yeah. Until their spirits, called Ciacuateteo, would descend upon the earth on 5 specific days of the Aztec calendar.
Oh, she a bad bitch.
On those days, the spirits would haunt places that were no good, where the people were evil, that they considered those people to be evil cuando no cuidaban a los niños. There was just famine all over. They would do that to their towns. So the spirits would haunt those places. And they hope to find kids to take with them, which were the kids that they weren't able to have because they died during childbirth, which represented the kids.
Okay, I get that. Yeah. I get that. Okay.
Now, another person that is linked to La Llorona is La Malinche. Have you ever heard of La Malinche?
No, but tell me about her.
I had not heard of her either. Now, La Malinche's name was Malinal, and she was a daughter of an Aztec chief. Okay. For that reason, she had a higher level of education than others at the time. Cuando su papá se murió, her mom sold her to slaves.
Oh, that was fucked up.
I know. Y la mamá because la mamá got remarried.
Oh, yeah.
La mamá got remarried and she wanted to have kids with her husband that weren't. So she needed to get rid of the one that she already had so they could start.
Oh, that sounds great. Oh, yeah.
I mean, yeah. So They ended up having a son, I think. And then they said that when people would tell them that, hey, what happened to your daughter? Que se murió.
Pinche vieja.
But she had told her.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah. And then those slavers sold her to a different chief. So she got sold again. And then she remained there until Hernan Cortés arrived in 1519.
I know who Hernan Cortés is.
Now, Hernan Cortés was the Spanish colonizer who conquered the Aztecs and took over Mexico on behalf of Spain.
Yep.
Okay. Well, cuando he arrived, Malinal and a group of other women served him. And she immediately herself apart real quick because she was super smart. She spoke Spanish. She learned Spanish. She spoke Aztec and she knew the Mayan language.
Nice. She was
smart. So like I said, she set herself apart real quick. And the Spaniards gave her the name of Doña Marina. So the Aztecs, they knew that she was with Hernan Cortés, she was fucking slave. So the Aztecs would kind of see her as like a super smart woman that was on the inside on their behalf. But on it,
como she was the one that would.
She was a mole.
She was a mole.
Yeah,
okay, I get it. Okay,
she was like a mole, so they gave her the honorary addendum of Tzin. Sin. So they named her Malitzin.
Malitzin.
Yeah.
Okay, so that meant that was honor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get it.
That Tzin was honorary to the Aztecs.
Yes.
So as Hernan Cortés was making his way through Mexico, trying to colonize it and shit, Malitzin became his interpreter.
Okay.
She even saved them from being ambushed a couple of times because she was able to pick up conversations and kind of read.
Wow.
Yeah, like she was able to pick up on body language and be like, hey, let's not do this because te puede pasar algo aquí.
That right there is somebody coming up from nothing and making herself something. That's fucking awesome.
Bad bitch
vibes 100%.
She played a critical role in Hernan Cortés defeating the Aztec Empire. So she's also seen as a traitor in the Mexican culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the thing when I was looking into this.
But you got to do what you got to do, bro.
To survive.
She was a slave. Like, she was a slave.
She was a slave, yeah.
Su mamá la vendió a la verga. Like, bro. Like, come on. No.
So she ended up giving birth to a son named Martin in 1522. And the dad was Hernan Cortés. So a lot of people are saying that, she was a slave.
He probably raped her.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. Yeah. So Martin became one of the first kids to come out of a Spanish and indigenous descent, which were called mestizos. Yeah. So he was one of the first kids.
That's what you call mestizo, means like a mixed.
Yeah.
That's what you would call a biracial children here, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now Hernan Cortés was already married. Trifling.
Fucker. And not only did he fuck up Mexican, but Mexican people, he also was a fucking trifling bitch. Okay.
Yeah. And his wife was in Cuba. When the wife was making her way over to where he was, Malitzin was married off to Juan Jaramillo, who was one of Hernan Cortés's captains. She was still a slave,
technically.
Yeah.
So
he married her off to somebody else, and their kid was passed off as, hey, my wife is coming. You need to get married to one of my other captains. Here you go. You guys have a family, and my wife is on her way here, and I'm good. Así.
Must be nice, motherfucker.
Como para taparlo.
Taparlo, sí.
Yeah. Uh-huh. So she was pushed aside for someone of better social status, if you want to think about it, because she's here enslaved.
But now she's the wife of a captain. Como que se subió de categoría.
Yes.
Espooky.
But she was never able to be Hernan Cortés's wife because he had his own wife. She was up here. She was a Spaniard lady.
Fancy,
así, toda fancy.
Mm-hmm.
She ended up dying of smallpox in 1529 or something along those lines. So se murió Malitzin eventually. She ended up having a kid or a couple of more kids with Juan Jaramillo. There you get some of the elements of the story known today of La Llorona, right? Now, where does the water aspect of La Llorona come from? Right? Because obviously we hear that she cries for her kids because she drowned them, right?
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a cholera epidemic in Mexico from 1833 to 1850 that killed a lot of people. And children were the most vulnerable to that pathogen. And cholera, of course, is cuando, bacterial disease that people contract from drinking contaminated water. Contaminated.
Espooky.
Contaminated water. Espooky.
Espooky.
Sí. Yeah.
Contaminada.
Sí, contaminada. Sí. Now, back in those times, obviously, agua filtrada was not a thing.
You would think.
So the outbreak would actually lead to the advancement of water filtration in that region after this outbreak. But since people were so traumatized that all the people died, including the children, they warned them away from lakes, rivers, and other forms of external water. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of like where the water, los niños, because cuando viene la Llorona, they're like, hey, La Llorona is going to come for you if you're out playing by like water. She, se aparece where there's like a river or like a lake and stuff like that. Now, there is a play in Xochimilco and about La Llorona that takes place from October 31st to November 2nd, kind of like Dia de los Muertos.
We need to go.
And it has been performed every year since 1993. The play kind of combines the Ciacuatl and La Malinche, and it's on the water. So it kind of like combines all three of them. Yeah. The play opens with an Aztec goddess wailing and crying for her children as she feels the war is approaching. And in the play, La Llorona is an indigenous woman who betrays her people by giving info to the Spaniards.
Okay.
So she gets seduced by a Spaniard that gets her pregnant, and then he leaves her for another woman from Spain, which is La Malinche, right? Mm-hmm. To get back at him for his betrayal, she drowns herself, which also kills her unborn child. Now, the most common tale I could find online is about a woman named Maria who lived in a small village in Mexico, and she was beautiful, and she was considered the most beautiful woman within a 500-mile radius.
Wow, that's nice.
Yes.
Bro, if you're the most beautiful woman in the like, they measured that shit.
Like, from here to, like...
Su puta madre, bro.
I don't know.
Wow.
All the men in the village really wanted to marry her, but she paid no attention to them. She wanted to marry someone whom she thought was on her level. And the men in her, like the humilde del village, were not on her level, according to her. So tenía así los aires así bien.
No, se creía pinche...
Se creía la muy muy.
Se creía la muy muy. Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah, te crees la muy muy.
Yeah. One day, a very handsome man came from a faraway town.
A very handsome man?
Espooky. One day, a very handsome man came from a faraway town and just knocked Maria on her ass because he was so fucking handsome. Según. And he was as handsome as she was beautiful.
Wow. The 500-mile radius, motherfucker? Bro, that's a lot. That's like 500-mile radius. Yeah. That's hotness. Yeah.
They got married and had 2 kids. Not long after, el husband rode into town with the new woman.
Ah, su verga. Es que he was handsome, bro.
And told Maria that he was leaving her because she wasn't beautiful anymore.
Su pinche madre.
Yeah. So Maria se encabronó y se enojó, like she was blind with rage. And at that moment, she drowned their 2 sons as revenge. Her husband really cared about their children, even though he didn't want to be with her anymore. He was a good dad to the kids. So I'm like, pues, he's fucking leaving me. No, he ain't. I'm about to...
Let's do better, guys.
Please.
Let's do better.
Well, es una leyenda, right?
Pues sí, pero como quiera. So that sounds like something that would actually happen, bitch.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
After she realized what happened, she wailed. She cried. Ay, mis hijos. You know?
Yeah.
Mis hijos. She couldn't live with what she had done, so she drowned herself in the same river where she had drowned her 2 children.
As she fucking should. Nobody told her to drown her kids.
Now, The Curse of La Llorona is a movie that came out in 2019. I saw it when it came out in theaters.
Con que la hizo pinche Benicio del Toro, no? Who was it that made the movie?
I don't recall, but I remember seeing it in theaters. Mm-hmm. And, I was clickety-clack Googling the movie, right? When I was doing research on La Llorona, and it would come up all the time. I read somewhere, and I started seeing some interviews that the set was haunted.
Stop.
No, I'm not going to stop. Let me tell you. And sure enough, I found a couple of interviews with some of the cast members.
She found a couple of interviews.
Where there's an actor, his name is Raymond Cruz, who plays a curandero in the movie. Mm-hmm. Curandero is like a Mexican shaman, like a healer. Who uses like folk remedies.
I've never heard of a curandero called the Mexican shaman, bitch. I'm always like, the curandero?
Yeah.
And because I'm always telling them at work that I need a pinche limpia because my ass is, I'm always in trouble. So I'm all like, I need a limpia. But and then I'll be like, trying to explain to I'm trying to explain to my Indian, one of the Indian doctors that works there, and this girl that's Mexican, but she's not, she's Chicana, or she doesn't speak Spanish. And I'm all like, like the people that they hit you with the garras and shit, like la hierba buena, and they're like looking at me like, no, yeah. So,
and his character's name is Rafael Olvera in the movie. So there is a specific scene in la película where his character goes against La Llorona. They're like going head to head.
Stop it! They fight?
Sí, they're battling.
No mames. I need to watch this movie.
Yeah, and
no, porque me da miedo.
Sí, te da miedo. He says that when they were filming the scene, that he was wearing like a bracelet that wards off negativity. And this was his own personal bracelet. Like he actually wore this bracelet and he was just wearing it for that scene.
Like los pinches ojos and shit.
Yeah, para que no tengan ojo, kind of like that. So he said that they were filming the scene y que the bracelet just exploded off of his wrist.
Stop.
And that several of the beads like split in half. Just like straight down the middle. And that he said that when he went to go pick them up, he was like, what? He was like, how is this possible that he grabbed some of the beans that were...
Not beans.
Some of the beans that were still like...
I mean, we're intact. Mexican and we eat beans, pero no chingues.
He picked up the beads that were still intact, and he said that he tried to go break them on the cement outside to see if they would split right down the middle. And he said no. He's like, that's impossible. They're like, how do you explain that shit?
Bro. I'm telling you.
And he also said that when they were filming in the house, he said it was a low budget movie. It was hot. There was no AC, pero que like you just felt this Arctic wind.
La pinche Rosa de Guadalupe.
Yeah.
El aire.
They felt the wind, but it was Arctic, bitch. Not just a regular wind. Not
like your fucking nipples get hard.
He said that the escalofrío. He said we were all felt it. He was like, it wasn't just one person. And like he said, it was hot outside. We had no fucking AC in this house. Where did this fucking chill come from?
Yeah, that's crazy. No fucking chill.
Exactly.
No chill. Well, now that you're saying that, I don't know if I have time to talk about this. So, like, I don't know if anybody else has heard this, but they say, like, all of the scary movies, like, for example, la movie The Exorcist, they say that their
set was haunted.
Their set was haunted.
Yeah, the Poltergeist movie también.
So, I don't know if this is something that people...
Oh, también, the most recent one that I heard that was haunted. I know you've never seen The Conjuring.
Fuck, no, I've never seen The fucking Conjuring. I want that shit in my head.
Yeah, pero
de por sí, pienso pendejadas, ¿te imaginas?
Joey King, she plays one of the little kids, and she said that when she on set that she ended up getting like a weird like a blood disease that she hadn't had before, but when she left the set or something along those lines, but when they finished filming the movie and she went back home, she said she was fine.
Pues ya ves que esta la Emily Rose, ¿no? Se llamaba la muchacha? ¿Cómo se llamaba la
The
Exorcist? Yeah. So the girl, they would say that like...
Oh, well, you're talking about the actual movie The Exorcist?
Yeah.
The movie The Exorcist of Emily Rose?
No, the actual movie. Okay. I'm talking about what is the original one. It's what I heard. I don't know about the new one, but I've seen they've had like actual like documentaries about how in the scenes where they were like quitándole el diablo and shit, that it was like haunted. They would like move the fucking beds and shit and all this shit. And then I think that the girl that would play her, she fucked up her back.
And she was 12, I think.
Yeah, she was like 12.
Escalofrío right now.
Yeah, like she was 12, and then like she would actually like fucking...
Her name is Linda. I can't remember.
Linda!
Yeah.
Linda Blair.
Is it Linda Blair?
Yes, it's Linda Blair. Yeah. And so then, like, I think she could never work again or something like that, and causes of that. I don't know, but I know that I've seen a few things from that legend or story about that. So I don't know if that's something I don't know if it comes back along the lines, or with the whole Mano Peluda guy that he actually brought that. See, this is the reason that I don't fuck with that man or that person or that spirit, whatever you want to call him. I don't fuck with that man. I don't want to talk about him or anything.
Yeah. Now, I personally have never seen La Llorona. I don't know anybody.
I do remember saying, like, we would sit there and then you could hear shit, but I think my grandma's house was so fucking old, pero estaba hecha de piedra, bro. Like, no se oía ni madre más que, you could hear people, but maybe people were just fucking with you and they would wail just to fuck with you.
Yeah.
Pero
I don't know anybody either that has seen, they say that they've seen La Llorona. I haven't.
I've never seen it, pero we also can say that a lot of the times, like, if you think about it now, I'm thinking, like, those pinches chickens, like, they, like that. You're like, who could be the chicken? Like, you never know.
But there are a lot of stories that
people
say that they've seen her and that she's not a myth, that she's real because they've seen her. They've had encounters with La Llorona. Mm-hmm. Now she is mostly described as wearing like a long white dress and that she has long black hair y que está bien pálida. and that she's crying and that she just mostly floats. Like she's just floating.
And she's wailing for her kids.
Yeah, she's
I wonder, like,
kids.
I have a question. I don't know if you see this. Does La Llorona actually hurt somebody or no?
I couldn't find any.
Porque la mano peluda te estira las patas.
Yeah. I was on Reddit and a lot of people were like saying like their stories and stuff. And I mostly saw ones where people say that when they were younger, when they were kids, que les pasaba. But they would like go to their parents and stuff like that. I never saw somebody or someone that said, hey, she actually managed to grab or touch me or grab somebody that I knew and stuff like that.
Yeah, I just think it's more like to scare you or to be like, I'm here, you know.
But that's the thing, like people swear they've seen her and I can't say, no, that's not true. I wasn't there.
No, bitch, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know about
that.
But I mean, if you've heard of La Llorona or know somebody that actually has seen La Llorona or has a story about La Llorona, let us know.
Let us know.
If there's any difference from what we were told to what you know her as in your country, let us know.
Please, we would love to hear it.
And also, I want to give an honorary mention.
Oh, really? To me?
To El Cucuy.
El Cucuy.
El Cucuy.
El Cucuy.
We all know El Cucuy.
Bro, my grandma, both of my grandmas, because, if y'all haven't noticed by this now, my grandparents were the ones that raised me. So my grandma, that was the shit. Te va a venir a comer el cucuy. Bro, I literally told my daughter that not too long. I told my son that not too long ago.
He was like, what the fuck?
He was like, what are you talking about? Bitch, te va a tragar el pinche cucuy. I'm tired of your ass. Like, for real. I would tell my daughter, duérmete porque te va a venir a comer el cucuy. But that's like something that you just say. Like, you don't even like
explain.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I don't have to explain it to you. It just happens.
It's gonna come. Well, he is the Latin version of the boogeyman, I guess you can say, right? And just like La Llorona, he was used as a scare tactic by parents to get kids to behave. Kids are cold, or at least I was told, como tú estabas diciendo que le dices a tu hija, if you don't behave, o si no te duermes, te va a venir a llevar el cucuy, te va a venir a agarrar en la noche and he's going to take your ass y I'm never going to see you
I'm
again.
Not lying to you. I would be like, ahí viene el cucuy, te va a tragar. And then she'll be like, oh, y el cucuy.
Yeah.
Like she remembers. We can bring her in here. We'll interview her because she remembers me telling her that.
Yeah.
But it's because I didn't know. And my suegra would do it too. Like she would tell her, "Ay, viene cucuy."
Yeah.
And so I don't know if that means. And then she would be like, "Ay, viene cucuy," and she would like run
to her.
Yeah. Like I don't know.
I don't think mom would use it as like a scare tactic.
No.
It was just
kind of like, viene cucuy. But it was like el cucuy, you know, still.
So according to, what is known, they're like he'd hide under the bed or the closet, like la mano peluda, just waiting for you to misbehave to take your ass.
Yeah, like, bitch, I would have been in you were always in trouble, bitch.
Yeah. Well, like you said, mom never like give us any details or anything. They
were
just
need to
like,
ask her, dude. Why didn't we ask her? And your dad.
She was gone. And
she's on the phone.
She was always on the phone. She told us that, I just remembered that he had long nails. Como la mano peluda, bitch.
Maybe it's the same.
Maybe, I don't know. But I never hear like, oh, he looked like this. Estaba chiquito, estaba grandote, estaba alto. What was he wearing?
Never.
Now, El Cucuy Smith originated in Spain, in Portugal.
Oh, these fucking Spaniards brought all that shit to Mexico.
And it's made its way to Latin America during the Spaniards' colonization. Lo mismo que la mano peluda.
Y también La Llorona, yeah.
There is a movie that came out in 2018 called Cucuy, the Boogeyman. I personally have not seen it.
Spooky. Hey, but I have a question. So the Boogeyman is like the Cucuy?
Yeah.
So then I wonder what are the people that were saying the Boogeyman is coming, like what would they, like what was their
I think it's the
story?
same thing.
It's the same? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I personally didn't look into the Boogeyman because we've heard about the Boogeyman. Yeah. There's a movie about the Boogeyman. I remember I saw it a long time ago when it came out. Y sale el guy que salía in Seventh Heaven, the oldest son. I can't remember his name, but it was like in 2012 or 2011 or something. But that's this one is called Cucuy, the Boogeyman. Not the Boogeyman. This is a Cucuy version of the Boogeyman. I haven't seen it. That's it.
Okay.
But do you have any stories about the Cucuy? Do you know El Cucuy?
No, I don't know the Cucuy, but I do remember telling my daughter that. But I want to ask you something.
Yes.
So have you ever had a paranormal experience?
No.
Never.
You?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So when I was little, we used to live in some apartments in South Dallas. Was like North Dallas.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. It was in Dallas. And so then my sister probably remembers this. And so the apartment that we used to live in, they turned it into it used to be an office, like the apartment office.
Yeah.
And so then the apartment was bigger because it had an extra room in the back.
Because it used to be the office.
So when my parents before my parents got divorced, we lived in this apartment. And so this apartment was a corner apartment. So it was the last apartment in the street, like whatever. To the street. Yeah. So, I mean, drive-bys, all of that was something that we were used to back then, Noise. I was probably around 7 or 8. Probably by this time, my parents were already divorced. I don't remember.
Or about to be.
And so then my grandma was a big Catholic woman. Like, she was the biggest Catholic woman you can find. Like, she would pray every night when we would wake up in the middle of the night. It was really creepy because she would be hincada, just reading like the Bible and rosarios and all of this stuff. So I remember hearing them talk about it, but I'd never seen it. And they were saying that the stuff, like the trastes, were on the floor. But the front trastes didn't fall. So they would open the doors on us.
And the back
trastes would be on the floor.
But not the ones that were in the front.
So my grandma I remember seeing her clean it up. Like, I remember seeing that because I was little. Like, I don't remember much. But I also remember that I would listen to a lot of Bronco. So that was the shit. But anyway, so then when my parents got divorced, my dad moved away. And my mom moved away. And so then it was just my grandparents. It was just us in that apartment. And that was it was an apartment that everything would either be moved or se abrían las puertas or they would open. Like, I remember I would shower y me abrían la shower curtain.
But you think you were too young to even be scared?
I was. Okay. But now that I know what it was, that makes a lot of sense. Back in the day, I was like, whatever. But then once I got older and I moved back with my mom, my grandparents left, we lived in a big house over in Little Elm, Texas. So there was, back then when we moved in, there was nothing around there. It was just literally, we were the last house in the corner. Besides the fact that my mom is known for doing weird shit, like brujeria and shit. So I would come home really late from work or whatever, and they would always open my curtain on me when I was showering. They would always. And
how old were you at this point?
At this point, I'm 17.
Oh, because you were working.
Before I came here. I moved to Houston and when I was 18.
Yeah.
So then they would always open the door on me straight up.
Is that why you're scared of spooky shit?
No, I don't think that's what it is. I just always, my grandmother, I don't fuck with it. My like I said, my grandmother was very Catholic. So she always told me that doesn't exist. You don't have to be scared of it. That's not something.
So what would you explain away all this stuff that would happen in her house?
She wouldn't explain it.
She just wouldn't say anything?
Just wouldn't, it just wouldn't happen. So then I was like, okay, well, I don't know what that meant, but to me, I just didn't think it. But now when I got older, and I knew my mom would do stupid shit, like brujeria and shit. And so one time they did it to me. They opened the fucking curtain and I was so tired because I was exhausted. And I remember telling them, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Stop it.
I don't have time for this shit.
Stop fucking with me. And that was the last time it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I always hear that you're never supposed to acknowledge them or anything like that. But I've heard of people be like, that you tell them look, bitch, if you're gonna be here, you need to keep it peaceful and leave me alone, and then we can both be here at the same time. Yeah. And then they say that usually was okay.
But see, a lot of things happen in that house because my little sister, one time we woke up and she was outside crying in the door. Like she had walked out, my little sister. And my mom would say, oh, she night walks or she sleepwalks, but she never slept or walked anywhere else.
Just there.
So a lot of stuff happened in that house, but that was because I know that it was because
of the stuff that your mom did.
Yeah.
Because Anna, Anna's house, the house.
You remember, you told me about Anna's house being fucking
haunted. I could bring Anna on here and she'll tell you all this shit. I remember her mom.
We should bring Anna on here.
Yeah.
If we can get her to answer.
Yeah, if you can answer her fucking phone. And I remember it was Halloween night and we were watching The Exorcist. And we were
Estela, out of both of us, she's the one that likes all that shit.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. So we were watching.
I have anxiety, so.
We were watching The Exorcist and it was just me and Anna. And I remember something about the restroom was right across her door. Mm-hmm. And I was like, dude, I have to go to the restroom. But la puerta del baño estaba cerrada and you could hear the shower going and you could see the light was on. Her brother's room was at the end of the hallway. So it was right next to Anna's, but Anna was facing the restroom. Mm-hmm. And her brother's room was just at the end of the hallway. And then her and the restroom were across from each other. So I was like, dude, I have to pee. I'm like, somebody in the restroom, Mama, nunca salieron del baño, right? Or she knocked or whatever. And she was like, is somebody in here? I'm like, hello? So Anna's like, nobody's answering. I'm like, who's in the restroom? She called for her mom, and her mom was in her room. And she was like, Mom, is Junior in the restroom? She's like, no, Junior's not here. And then we're like, what? So I'm like, so who's in the restroom? Bitch, no había nadie en el baño.
Did you open the door? Who opened the door?
Anna opened the door. The shower wasn't on.
But you could hear the shower.
We could hear the shower.
Yeah.
So I think that's the closest thing that I could come to, like, a paranormal experience, I guess you can say. I don't know.
You could say, yeah.
Yeah.
So what are your paranormal experiences, guys? Like, I know that there has to be, I know that we're not the only ones that kind of feel kind of awkward. And yes, did I think that this whole thing of us not being able to work the microphones and stuff, does it have anything to do with it? I don't know. Probably not, because we've been having issues with these fucking shits forever. But you know what? Let us know what you think. And if you do have any other, like, things that your parents or grandparents or somebody would tell you.
Let us know.
Not even, it doesn't have to be Hispanic. It could be anything.
Yeah, like, just anything spooky, urban legends or whatever.
Yeah, just let us know. I'm going to ask my mom. No, I'm not going to ask my mom. I'm going to ask my dad and my mother-in-law, and then not my mom. It's spooky. It's spooky. My mom hates my ass. But I'm going to ask her, and then, and we'll do an update on Instagram.
Stories. Instagram stories.
Okay. So it's spooky. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for everyone for their support. We really appreciate it.
You can follow us on Instagram at
Cafecito and Crime Pod.
Or you can send us an email to
cafecitoandcrimepod@gmail.com.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good week. Spooky.